Tiffany's, Van Cleef, Cartier. These stores, high-end luxury retail jewelry stores, all have something in common when it comes to their display strategy. It's a secret that they have tapped into human psychology to help them close a huge number of high-end luxury retail sales in their store. And it taps into human psychology at its core. The secret behind their display strategy lies in three numbers that I want to teach you today, where your independent retail store can use the same principles to increase your sales and help your display strategy of jewelry on the shelf feed your greater goals. Now, those three secret numbers that they use are 3, 5, and 7. Remember those numbers, 3, 5, and 7, as I tell you how to employ that in your display strategy at your store. Now, Jimmy and I work with many jewelers all over the country at Train Retail, helping them grow their business and make it sustainable and often grow towards something even greater of a purpose in their community by making greater impact in their store, helping them fulfill their dreams, whatever it might be. So in doing this, we help them create a sales goal and a sales plan. And with that sales goal and written sales plan, we then help create strategies for that store that feed that plan continuously, from training your team to inventory management to, yes, today, even display training. And it's at display training that we find that we get the most resistance to some of our ideas, ironically. When someone actually has to go out and physically manipulate the displays of their jewelry store, they're not so excited to do so. They're not quite quick to latch on to the ideas. And I think it has something to do with physically manipulating and changing the environment, especially in the way that we're about to tell you. That seems radical. It seems too much of a change, too seismic, that somehow it's going to completely throw off and off-kilter the business. The reality is, employing a good display strategy is one of the lowest cost things that you can do that has one of the greatest impacts on your jewelry store and on your sales. Knowing how to display jewelry and doing it in a way that really features your goals in mind will help your sales team, will help your turn, your sales through. It can even help your gross profit in the end. Tiffany's understands this, Cartier does, Van Cleef, and so many high-end luxury brands have already figured this out because they have employed, quite literally, psychologists to go on their team to figure out how to display things that meets the human eye where the human eye wants to be met and speak to people in the way that people want to be spoken to, visually and physically. They've honed in on three very important numbers that the human brain absolutely loves: 3, 5, and 7. The human brain likes to compile things into groups. I'm looking over here at a very messy desk of mine, and I need to get it cleaned up. My brain is going to actually immediately look at 3 different sections of the desk: my left, the center, and the right, and then it will start to organize and clutter things into groups. Okay, I can put those 2 or 3 things here, 3 things there, da, da, da. Before I know it, my desk starts to get organized into 3 big clumps or piles. It does this instinctively. It does this intuitively because our brain likes odd numbers. It likes odd sequences. It likes 3s and oddly even 4s. I'll get to that in a moment. But we want to see things in odd numbers. It has something to do with the fact that there is a middle. There's a middle to 3. The middle of 3 is 2. 1, 2. 2 is in the middle. And our brain will be attracted to seeing whatever is in the middle and putting the things off to the side as secondary or tertiary to us. Think about 5. The number 5 also has a middle. The middle is 3. 3 is in the middle of these 2 and these 2. So our eye will be attracted to the middle thing in a sequence of 5, and it will then prioritize everything out from the middle of that as secondary, tertiary, and so forth. And as you can see where this is going, 7 works the exact same way. The middle of 7 is 4. And we will see the thing in the middle of it, of that sequence of 7, as the most important, and everything from there as least important. Now, why not beyond 7? Because our brain starts to shut down. If you start to see groups of 9 or 12, 13, 15, whatever large number, your brain starts to think there's too many things for me to see there. I can't process all of that at once. So it starts to kick into gear. I'll segment it. Those 3 numbers over here and those 4 over here, and now I'm creating these little pockets and segments in my brain of numbers and sequences so that I can conceive of this great big number sequence. What is all this science getting to? Your phone number. Your phone number, here in the United States especially, follows a sequence. It follows, in parentheses, 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, dash 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a sequence of essentially 7 numbers plus 3 numbers. You see, 7 plus 3, 10. It has grouped 3, 3, and 4. And it kind of allows for that 4th one, but doesn't love those 4 numbers. Your brain really likes the sequence of 3 numbers because it's easy for us to process and remember a shorter sequence like that. So if you live in an area that has the same area code as a lot of people, I live in an area that has an area code of 575. When you give your phone number to someone else, you rarely ever say the 575. It's understood. And we stick to the sequence of, you guessed it, 7 numbers. My number is ... dash ... Your brain likes to segment things in these types of groups. And knowing this, we can use this in a display strategy to our benefit, so that we group things in 3, 5, and 7. The first step of all of this is to understand that you must have something for people to look at in the case where they can clump things together in groups of 3 and 5 and 7. One of the worst offenses you can do in your display cases is simply to lay out the jewelry from end to end, although this happens so very frequently. Chains that extend maybe from the back to the front, or a silver case that has silver from the left side to the right side. Left to right, front to back is just full of jewelry, or trays that we've put out. Tray, 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 tray. The problem is the human brain, when it looks through the display, will have nothing to latch onto. Nothing really stands out. It just looks like a bunch of clutter. Granted, it's a clutter of very nice, fine jewelry that you're selling, but we've got to let the brain see something, latch onto something, and see it clearly. So create clusters and groups of things inside the display. Instead of doing it from end to end, or from back to front, consider, I'm going to have a cluster over here, then a little space in the case between the next cluster of things in the middle, then a little space, and a big cluster of things over here on the right. I've created 3 clusters, 1, 2, and 3. Now when I walk up to the display case with all the same displays in it, at least I can see that here in the middle is a cluster, and over here is a cluster, and over here is a cluster, and my brain can process that there are 3 distinct groups and choices that I can then process through. Now, I've got to take this a step further because Van Cleef, Cartier, Tiffany's, they didn't stop there. One of the biggest resistances that we get is we tell people to take certain pieces out of the cases completely. In fact, in rare cases, we'll even tell people, take some of your old stock, pull it from all your showcase displays, and put it in the back stock just for a little while. People don't like doing this. They want to have the jewelry out there because if it's not out there, it won't sell. And then they start maybe finally and begrudgingly pulling things off the shelf, and they go without question, and inevitably they'll say, oh my God, there's nothing left in the display cases. What am I going to sell? The cases look empty. It looks empty to us because we're used to seeing them cram-packed full of things inside of them. It does not look that way to the person who is coming through your door, whose brain likes 3s, 5s, and 7s. Believe it or not, the thing that these 3 big companies I listed have in common is the way that they display isn't just in clusters of 3 and 5 and 7 inside of a showcase. In fact, if they're going to cluster at all, they'll only do it in about sections of 3. You'll look in a showcase and there will be literally 3 paths, 1, 2, and 3 inside of the showcase. That's the max. They don't want to give people more clusters of jewelry than that. But these 3 companies take it further. Most of their displays, especially of their best jewelry, only feature 3, 5, or 7 items in it at all. Occasionally 4. Remember, the brain kind of lets 4 kind of get away with it. 3 items, 5 items, 7 items, that's it. In the whole display? In the whole case? Yep, absolutely. Why do they do this? Because when you only feature 3 items, 5 items, 7 items, the brain sees a couple things. 1, it sees all of the items in that case very clearly and very prominently. The brain likes only having to see 3, 5, or 7 items. It can process what it's seeing. But it also begins to believe that if these are the only items in the case, then these must be pretty good. In fact, they must be pretty stinking good if they're the only items in this case. It's a subliminal message that our brain receives that says this must be the best of the best. And so they sell hundreds of millions of dollars with 3, 5, or 7 items at all in a case or on a display. And they do it prominently by featuring 1 in the middle, 2 on the outside, or 1 in the middle and 4 on the outside. You can see a centerpiece with secondary, tertiary, and so forth items on either side. Creating this visual where there's a centerpiece followed by smaller pieces outwardly gives the brain something directly to focus on and see it in clusters and groups. And of course, the thing in the middle is the best-selling item they have in the store, which increases the chances of the thing selling. So those cases that they put together aren't just for hoity-toity show. They put them together to say, we have artistically crafted and curated this for you, my friends. And isn't it gorgeous and lovely and wonderful? And of course, if you walk into these fine stores, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Now let's go back to your store, where there might be a lot of things in the case, and you can't even get to the idea where we only have 5 items in the entire case. Try it. Try having 1 display, or even just 1 cluster that only features 3 or 5 items on it at all. And in the middle, put something prominent on a neck, put it on a nice tower display, something that lifts it up and elevates it in the center, followed by 2 or 4 items on either side of it, flanking it so that the eye comes directly to the middle and then outward into V formation. Try this. And anything that's superfluous, anything that's extra in the case, just hide it. Put it in a different case. Put it in the back. I don't care. Just try redisplaying in 3s and 5s and 7s. When done properly and when done correctly, where the items you're displaying are your best-selling pieces at the right price points and the right average retails, you are helping your customers see what they really wanted to begin with. Your best-selling merchandise at the best prices and the best fashion right there. Final little pro tip that all 3 of these companies I listed do. They feature jewelry and they have their associates talk about it as though it was curated, handcrafted, artisanally selected. Find something to say, we have curated this selection for you, the customer. We didn't just haphazardly throw these items out here. We didn't just happen to pick some display from the back and fill it out and put it up here. We chose, of all the pieces of jewelry that we could have chosen from, the very best to put in front of you. And this is where I like to display things in styles. Here is a diamond necklace, and with that diamond necklace, this ring matches it perfectly. And if you get the ring, of course, the bracelet goes with it as well. Now I've created a whole selection just for you to see. Last little point. You know who else does this same strategy? Target, Kohl's, Macy's, Dillard's, name your favorite department store. Walk in and you will see very quickly a mannequin. And on that mannequin you will see 3s and 5s and 7s if displayed properly. They know this because they want to appease your brain. They want it to see something that it's comfortable looking at, and it wants the centerpiece of whatever the display to be their newest, fastest selling, best item at the right price point. And it works wonders for all of the stores I listed. I hope it will work wonders for you as well. If you would like help in redesigning your store, or your displays rather, in 3, 5s, and 7s, or you would like a display strategy or sales goal that will help you understand how to best do this for your fine jewelry store, reach out to us at Train Retail, trainretail.com, or you can message us directly, Jimmy@trainretail.com, or me, Kyle@trainretail.com, and we would be happy to help you do so. Good luck out there, and I will see you next time.